movement is important. Guillain-Barré syndrome takes that away. I'm here to talk to you about this disorder, which affects the nervous system and was discovered in 1916 when Guillain-Barré and Stroll discovered two soldiers. They had damaged nerve cells, which caused ascending paralysis, which means it starts with the legs and moves up. Paralysis means para, alongside, and lysis means a cell membrane is disintegrated. So that's the effect of this disease, is there is a paralysis. And the diagnostic test, we've got electro, meaning electricity, myo, meaning muscle, graph, diagnostic tests, which show a visual of two or more relationships in a graph shape. The cerebral spinal fluid analysis is very important. So they stick a needle into the spine and they measure protein. How much? There shouldn't be so much protein in there. So the white blood cell count is normal, but protein is the sign. Now, the mechanism or the etiology or the pathophysiology or pathogenesis, the process for how the dysfunction is actually occurring is as you saw earlier, there's a cellular disintegration. There's a membrane disintegration. So comparing normal to abnormal, normal function would be a myelin sheath, which is around the axon of nerves. It's another type of nerve cell. Think of it like an insulator, a fatty insulator. And the signal can go jumping through along the axon in that state. And of course, I would prefer this normal function where my muscles can be activated. In the abnormal state, the electric signal can't go through properly. The viral infection, which usually triggers this, then there's an immune system making a mistake with the adaptive immune response. So instead of recognizing its own antigen markers on its cells, the antigen protein sort of markers on the outside of the myelin cells, they look too similar to the virus antigen or something, and so the immune cells, white blood cells, they forget how to recognize its own, and it starts destroying them in that inflammatory type response. The results in the brain loses electrical connection to muscles, and so the person is paralyzed, as we said before, from the feet up, so to speak, closer, as it approaches things like the respiratory tract. Treatment, no real treatment. Supportive care, sometimes plasma. Sometimes they do an exchange with, give someone immunoglobulin therapy to relieve symptoms, which means that like antibodies and such. So these antibodies, give them somebody else's antibodies or antibodies that, or immunoglobulins, in other words, that hopefully aren't going to attack the myelin. I haven't found any studies that actually show that really makes a difference. But you got to have physical therapy because movement is so important. And Guillain-Barré syndrome takes that away. Those soldiers recovered. Here's my sources, by the way. But those soldiers actually recovered, and sometimes that happens. Someone lays paralyzed on a bed for a while, and then they get back up at some point.